Sadly, though, one of the studies shows that up to about 80% or only 1 in 5, I guess is the positive way to say it, have a plan. 4 in 5 don't, which is just insane.
Insane.
Yeah. So, so that's very scary. That's that wandering in the forest, and good luck. Welcome to Wealth Creator Radio, where we help people overcome the uncertainty of having enough retirement income. I'm your host, Eric Heckman, a certified financial planner with over 30 years of experience. We want you to enjoy life and not have to wonder where your money will come from and how long it'll last. My mission is to show you how to develop a personalized income plan so you can retire more and have worry less wealth. Here at Wealth Creator Radio, we cut through the noise and get straight to what matters. We understand that the world of retirement planning can be filled with confusing products, ever-changing tax laws, and volatile markets. That's why we're here to help successful people like you navigate the uncertainty and create a blueprint for a thriving, work-optional life.
Welcome to Wealth Creator Radio. Today we're going to be looking at the Dirty Dozen. And these are some of the tax scams that the IRS has flagged for us to avoid. We're going to discuss some of these today with Eric Heckman. He is a certified financial planner, president at Heckman Financial right here in Silicon Valley. So excited to get started with you today. Let's start off with our phone number. I want you to have this throughout our show. You can call or text the word visit anytime, 800-454-1184. Call or text the word visit. You're going to also hear us talk about our digital toolbox, and that includes Eric's book that he's written and then other informative resources for your retirement. You can text the word toolbox as well. Okay, 800-454-1184. That's the number to remember. Also, our podcast comes out every Tuesday morning. You can find that wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. Just search for the name of our show, Wealth Creator Radio. Eric, hello to you.
Hey, Len. Yeah, it's good to be talking about this because definitely a subject that, probably almost at least once or twice a month, probably, I guess I'd say, that clients have some questions or some issues, and then you go, whoa, that's a scam. And the one actually I see a lot is stuff from DocuSign. And,
really?
And it looks like an official DocuSign thing, says, it's got the logo and everything. I've even seen spam that has my picture on it, which is like, thanks for stealing my, my info, right?
Gosh, yeah.
And, but one of the first things to do is it's hard on your phones, but it's easier on a laptop. But when you're on your phone, lots of times you don't see the email details. So my little trick is you hit forward. And once you hit forward, it'll show you all the details. And then you can see that the email is like a total bogus email that, has nothing to do with that domain. So the website doesn't say DocuSign and stuff like that. And then that's when delete that. But we've definitely been seeing a lot of it there. So yeah, it's you got to watch out. There's a lot of people wanting to steal your money, unfortunately.
Right. The IRS created this Dirty Dozen campaign clear back in 2002 to combat tax scams all across the country. And they do tend to spike during filing season. But we may not have time to go over all 12 today, Eric. But the first one I want to get to is email phishing. Email phishing scams. Tell us about those.
Yeah, well, that's just when they're, like I said, with like the DocuSign or something, they're trying to get you to click on some link that may either load bad software on your computer, or maybe you just start typing in your personal data and it says, you need to reset your password, put your social, put your date of birth, stuff like that. And then they're getting all that data. And,
right.
Sometimes you see it from banks, sometimes you see it from law places. And I must admit, there's some of those that look super good. I mean, now some of them are pretty bad. They've got some really bad, grammar or English, use. And, you kind of go, okay, well, that's kind of a giveaway. A big company like that would, you'd hope have at least spell checked it and things like that. So, but yeah, you do have to watch it because anytime you're clicking on some link, it's always good to ask. I mean, anytime we send stuff to our clients, we say, hey, we're about to send you this, that's real. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and do it and stuff, just so that way they know. Because otherwise it's always good just to, if you think some company is sending you something, check with them first and then you'll often find out, oops, no, they're not
Right.
sending you anything.
Right.
So you have
Be
to definitely
careful.
be careful. Yeah.
Another warning from the IRS is about bad social media advice. Some of these tax tips that are floating around are just flat out dangerous, could land you in some big trouble with your taxes. Tell us about those.
Yeah, the kind of the craziest one I saw recently was this deal where you invested in this company, and the way you invested in this company, it would have to vote, and so it could
Hmm.
potentially not vote to do this, but basically this company would supposedly buy, things that charities need in bulk and then donate them at the retail price and, theoretically get it, passing on that savings.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one that this client sent me, and he was being referred by several of his friends, they said they were doing these, it was this stuff to identify where workers are in like a big warehouse. And if they're in dangerous areas, it would alert, whoever to tell people, oh, it's more hazardous. You're not supposed to be in that area.
Hmm.
So like, oh, okay. And then I looked at the charity. The charity was an after school charity in Fort Worth, Texas that did youth programs.
What?
and
What?
you just gotta go, what the heck's this
Yeah.
charity ever gonna do with this stuff? They
Well,
don't
yeah.
have any warehouses. They don't have any,
Especially in California, right? I mean,
but the way they were billing this was, here, you invest this 50 grand and we're gonna give you, a $200,000 tax write-offs
right.
because of we're going to buy in bulk and then donate at retail level. And first of all, is it really that big a discount? Is it really that big a difference? And that's really kind of scammy. And then once you looked at who that charity was, it's like, what? They would never even use this stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you got to watch out. There's a lot of scammy things on the internet.
Another common scam, Eric, involves scammers pretending to be third parties helping taxpayers set up personal accounts on irs.gov.
Yeah, no, don't ever, if somebody's calling you supposedly from the IRS, they're not. They don't call people. They don't have enough people to do that. So they send you letters. Yeah, so don't ever answer the phone to anybody who's saying that, or if they are, if they're saying that they're with IRS, just hang up and mark it spam and block the phone number, and don't ever answer that or give them any info. And especially if there's some sort of charity supposedly going to help you with tax or, skip all that stuff. And, one of the things that I think for us is really having people be educated, not only about the bad stuff out there, but also the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so one thing we do have is we have a vault that we've kind of set up, and, or I guess I should say a toolbox that we've set up that really has all these great quick reads to educate yourself about, what's the right decision for Social Security? Am I paying too much tax in retirement? Will my money last as long as I do? Even have a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth, and way to set up a time to meet with me, Eric Heckman. If you want to get all that, all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
And we're so happy you're joining us today. Thank you so much for listening to Wealth Creator Radio. I want to mention here, Eric holds many events throughout the year. And all you have to do is head to that website, Wealth Creator Radio, to find out details, even sign up for them on their website. I want to make sure you know that. So thank you again for joining us. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. We're spending some time on our show today talking about the Dirty Dozen. And these are tax scams that are out there that the IRS is warning us about. And then you already just mentioned the fake charities. They're the big one they're saying is that people are setting up fake charities.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good just to check out the charity, go to their website, find out reviews. There's a couple websites also that you can, where they rank charities in terms of how much they're doing and how much is going to admin and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, definitely good to see if they're real because, yeah, you do have to watch out. I mean, obviously, it's a big name place. Red Cross, things like that.
Yeah.
The ones that we all know, United Way. Okay, those you can kind of count on. But yeah, if it's something a little funkier sounding, just definitely check it out to make sure.
And again, just to clear up confusion here for anybody listening, tell us the difference between tax preparation and tax efficient strategies, which is what you guys do. You help people with those strategies.
Yeah, well, tax prep is really, I really equate it more to tax reporting. So it's kind of like the reporter at the scene of the crime. This is what happened. There's nothing you can do about it. It's all over. It's done with. That's what you do between February and April every year, right, for your tax return. Tax planning or tax efficient strategies are things that you do maybe at the end of the year for the next year or the beginning of the year or just all throughout the year of how do you save money? How do you just pay less over your lifetime? And that's really what we're shooting for with our clients. So again, we've got some great information like, am I paying too much taxes in retirement? It's one of the options in there. And all of that's located in their digital toolbox. All you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text word toolbox 800-454-1184 or download at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Thinking about healthcare costs, long-term care expenses, and income needs in retirement? How will you afford it all? And what can you do now to help ensure your loved ones will be okay when you're gone? Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial has access to tools and strategies that can help you pursue your retirement dreams without taking on too much risk with your money. Interest rates are the highest they've been in decades, so take advantage of this seemingly once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to help protect your retirement before it's gone. Learn about the tools and features available today that could provide bonuses, potentially adding up to tens of thousands of dollars in additional income when medical needs arise. Schedule your visit with Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial today by calling 800-454-1184. That's 800-454-1184. These opportunities won't last forever, so call now to help protect your future. 800-454-1184.
Gone are the days when retirees could rely heavily on external support like Social Security and corporate pension plans, right? Today, not only are those pensions a fading memory, but, the reliability of Social Security benefits, that's coming under concern as well. And so there's a lot of burden on securing a financially stable retirement, right? On people, on individuals. Eric, as a financial advisor, what do you feel are some of the greatest risks that threaten financial security for retirement?
Well, I think, one of them, of course, is like what you mentioned there is not having income, right? Because it's not about just, it's points on the scoreboard, basically, when you're building up your assets, right? It doesn't really matter how much money you get off of them because, you're working, right?
Mm-hmm.
But second you stop working, it's all about having some sort of income plan and where's that money going to come from? So, so just knowing that alone is a big one. And like you said, most of us don't have pensions anymore. So it's just Social Security, which also has, admitted having problems for years in 2035, which sounds like a long time from now, but it's getting a lot closer.
Yes,
and
it is.
there's still nobody fixing it.
Mhm.
You can't live on everything being in the market because we all know those bad years come and usually you get 2 to 3 bad years out of every decade. And if those happen to be your first years, that can be really bad if you had to cash in a bunch of stuff and sell off those shares because those shares don't recover after that. And so, you do need to have some foundational money, some money that's guaranteed, that's going to be there every single year, that doesn't drop, but still can earn higher interest than bonds and, money markets and such. Obviously, things get more expensive over time with inflation. So you just always have to have that in the plan. And then healthcare is one that, I don't think enough people really fully appreciate how expensive it is. Dental plans for, retirees are really bad.
Mhm.
And, and then we're not even talking about, long-term care and other things like that. So, it's just something that you have to be really planning this all out. And so it's not something you want to just jump into and then find out. You want to plan ahead.
Exactly. So, yeah, you just listed several risks that retirees are going to face. One of them is, of course, we talk about this all the time, living a long time in retirement. In your experience, Eric, you're working with retirees every day. Which issue do you find most retirees struggling with as far as planning for their financial security?
Well, obviously things do change over time. And now that I've been doing this for over 30 years, I actually have clients that have been retired for 20 plus, which
Wow.
is kind of weird actually. Right. But, I had one client that, she even told me, she's like, tell people that, what I thought I needed to retire on is almost doubled, and that's typically
My.
what does happen over about 20 years,
Yeah.
things double in costs. And so, yeah, if you're not planning that ahead of time and you're just going to all of a sudden wake up and go, hold it, I'm living on this, set income and my money's not, my expenses are doubling, but my income's not. So that's one of the big things. And a lot of that, of course, is people live a lot longer, right? So, one of the craziest ones I just recently had was somebody who was 75. The daughter called me because she said her mom just inherited this money. And I'm like, oh, how old's your mom? She said 75. I'm like, so how old was your grandma?
Yeah.
Well, 103.
Whoa.
So if some people are waiting for their inheritance to retire, well, if you get your inheritance, when you're 70 or 80, you might be working for a really long time. So I wouldn't quite count on that as much. But yeah, what used to be a 10 to 15 year, 20-year retirement now, I think for a lot of people, it's going to be 30 or maybe even 40. So for at least one of you, if you're married, right, the stats go a lot higher. So yeah, that's one of those things where, do you have that all planned out? And, also what happens after one spouse passes? We run into this all the time, unfortunately, with people just doing really bad decisions or not good with their money. I had a client that literally had never used an ATM. This is just a couple of years ago. This is not, in the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
But her husband just always took money out for her and stuff. She didn't even know how to check her bank account balance. And now she's supposed to pay the bills and take care of everything, right?
Oh,
so that's the hard part is, more than likely, one of you is if you're married, is gonna live a lot longer than the other one, and is there gonna be as much money, right? Because there's gonna be only one Social Security check, not two. You keep the higher of the two, which is nice at least.
Yeah.
But the smaller one goes away, and then where's that money gonna come from? How's it gonna last for the rest of your life? Those are the issues that you need to do. So here at Heckman Financial, what we did is we built this blueprint to worry less wealth, because we want you to worry less about your money and enjoy retiring more. And so, with that, you first have to have that customized income plan, because that's where everything starts. If you don't have income, you're just basically unemployed, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a way to get money. And then, how are those investments now going to shift to give you that income? And then also, what's the tax ramifications from the different types of money, right? IRAs, 401ks, your regular dollars, all that stuff. The healthcare issues along the way, and then legacy, who's going to get your money after you're gone. So, we've built that all into our digital toolbox. And so that's one of the things that we can do is, give you a lot of downloads, a lot of great information, some really quick reads of 10 to 15 pages of will your money last as long as you do, Social Security timing decisions, all these great things, a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth, and even a place to set a time to talk with me. And so if you want to go check all that out, it's great tools and great things to learn about. And I think everything should start with education first. So get yourself educated by just texting the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
And we thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman, Heckman Financial, on the air every single weekend because he is so passionate about helping retirees like you. So, Eric, what steps can our listeners take to ensure that their hard-earned retirement savings is going to provide that income needed throughout all of their retirement years?
Well, so I mentioned it just a bit ago there, that customized income plan, personalized and customized to you and your situation. So, a couple things. One is what do you spend, right? So that's always a hard one. Everybody lies, not intentionally, but I tell people usually it's off by 20 to 40%. And I just had another one last week where they found out they're spending $13,000, not $10,000 a month.
Oh, my.
Hey, there's 30%. I'm like, oh, you nailed the 20 to 40, right? Dead center. And so that's one of the first things to do is look at your last 12 months of spending in your checking account, add up all those withdrawals, divide by 12. So all your withdrawals, divide by 12. If you're paying off your credit card every month with that checking account, you don't even need to look at your credit card statement. It's all there, just in your bank. And, that's the real no lie, how much you spent. And often it's like, yikes, what? I spent that much, but you need to know that. And, and so then once you have that, then you can figure out, okay, where's that income going to come from? A little bit from Social Security, but where's the rest, right? Do you have some guaranteed lifetime income? Do you have set up any personal style pensions, like, for yourself. How are you going to withdraw that money? Is it going to be subject to market volatility? Because that's not good. So yeah, you have to have all that planned out. And that's what we do here at Heckman Financial.
Well, obviously, tailored advice is what we all need. And that is something that you do, right? You do a personalized retirement income plan for people.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll sit down and we'll run that income plan out. And it's kind of like if you're driving from San Jose to LA, we're going to tell you if the Sierra's in front of you, then you need to turn right because you're going the wrong way. We'll also tell you, hey, there's, maybe an accident up ahead. You might want to get off on the side road or, whatever issues, right? We're going to do the same thing with your income plan. We're just going to show you where you're headed today. And, it's either a good answer or a bad answer. If you run out of money, it's a bad answer.
Right.
But at least you know that now, and then you can maybe adjust things or just when you want to retire or just, spending levels or other things or downsizing. There's lots of options, right? So, once you have that plan, then you can figure out where all the money should be going to after that. And so that's the problem is I think most people are hung up on, what's the hot stock or should I be doing Bitcoin or should I be doing, XYZ investment and, whatever the hot thing of the day is. And that's the wrong way to do it. It's first of all, let's have a plan. And once you have the plan, go, oh, does this fit into my plan? If it doesn't, then, you know the answer right away. Right. So, but that's the hard part is people don't start with that planning attitude first. So, one of the things, again, that we've set up there is, place for you to set a time to talk with me if you want to just have some questions answered. But also beyond that, we've got a lot of great downloads and even a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth. So all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text word toolbox, 800-454-1184. Or you can download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
If something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. There's a particular time of life this phrase couldn't be more appropriate. How can you know you'll live the retirement you've always imagined? After all, life can be so unpredictable. You've worked hard and saved. Watch your accounts go up and down with the market. Your advisor says, don't worry, you'll be fine. But you still don't feel confident. Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial has a checklist to help you find out if you're on the right track for retirement. If you can check all the boxes with confidence, you may be ready for retirement. If not, Eric can help you address any potential costly mistakes. To get Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial's complimentary checklist, call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hey, thanks so much for spending part of your day with us. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. And I do want to mention Eric holds many events throughout the year. You can get those details and sign up for them on the website, wealthcreatorradio.com. And another way is just RSVP. Text those letters to 800-454-1184 and register. So just text RSVP 800-454-1184 to get signed up for some events. So as we are entering retirement and, these stages of life, the financial landscape becomes a little more complex. We've got rising inflation. You just mentioned it, Eric. A lady said she's paying double what she started out paying in retirement. Of course, we have stock market risk and then taxes. Of course, those are changing always. So I thought we could explore how retirees can best manage these financial pressures. Let's start off with the challenge of the stock market and its volatility. Eric, tell us how you help them with that.
Yeah, well, there's the whole adage of, just hang in there, right? It'll come back. Just wait for it to come back. And, you've probably heard that for 20, 30, 40 years, right? Yeah. And, okay, sounds fine. But what happens when you need money tomorrow, next month? The month after, you can't just hang in there. You need a check. You need to pay your bills, right? And so that advice is actually pretty horrible advice for anybody who's actually already retired. Yes, you don't want to freak out every time the market goes up and down, but you also can't have your spending level being based off of the stock market because every time the market dips, you're going to cash in shares. And when it's down, you're going to have to sell more shares. And then, of course, when it recovers, those shares never come back because you spent them, right?
Mhm.
So there's two things. One is, of course, de-risking your retirement a little bit, right? Lowering that risk score down. So it's one of the things we do is we have people find out what their risk score is. It's a measurement from 1 to 100, and getting the highest grade on this test is not a good thing. So it just means you're the most risky, and it may work and it may fail, horribly, but it'll be one of the two, and not much in between, right? We want to lower down that risk score, especially as you get older. But really, what you want to do is you want to add two things that most people don't focus on. One is having about 10 to 20% of your money into what I call steady income investments. So the steady income stuff that will pay you really good dividends and has low volatility. So as it's paying that money either monthly or quarterly, that's cash flow sitting there. That's money that you can now take out of that money market, not cashing in shares every month. So that obviously helps, for those ups and downs of the market. And then the other is for foundational money. There's some great foundational money options out there that their rates are based on the stock market indexes, but you don't go down when the markets go down. You may not get all the ups, but you'll get most of it. And so it's a way to get some money that is going to be there always, that you can take out so much every year to kind of fund your expenses. And then that lets you ride those ups and downs. But yeah, if you have 100% of your money in the stock market, like most people do in their 401ks, that is super, super scary in retirement.
Yeah. Super scary. All right. Very good that you help people with that. I like how you help people come up with that steady income. That's great. Another concern for retirees, as I mentioned, is, we know that taxes are going to go up in retirement. So, if your plan is based on the current tax rate, well, things are going to change. So tell us how you safeguard retirees and their finances against the rising taxes that are sure to happen.
Yeah, well, just, if you ever go to nationaldebtclock.org, it's a kind of a depressing website. It just shows you all the numbers getting higher and higher and higher. And the amount of trillions that we've added on since 2017 is just, mind blowing. I mean, we've over doubled, gone up by 50%, I should say, the national debt, and it's getting close to doubling. And that's just in a short, time period there. And compared to the previous 10 or 15 years before that, I mean, it's definitely sped up a lot, and the politicians really aren't looking to pay off the debt or start paying our bills. So we know there's going to be some huge bill coming due that we all end up owing. And so what's the easiest way? Well, one thing is I like to call it rule out tax hikes forever. Most people call it Roth. If you can convert some more money to Roth, you can move some more funds over there, then you've gotten rid of the taxes permanently. So that's one way. Specially designed life insurance is one way to cut out tax hikes. Also usually gives you some long-term care protections, but everything has to be tax focused. And one of the crazy things I think about my industry is there's so many people who say, "Oh, we can't give you tax advice." Well, yeah, you can. You can go out and get educated on taxes and get licensed for taxes, like I did, and then you can actually do tax advice, because I think you have to. I mean, it's just like, you don't see a doctor being a left side doctor and then you have to go talk to the right side doctor. That makes no sense, right?
No.
I mean, yes, they're specialists, but they still need to look at the whole body, right? And the same thing here. You have to look at your whole financial situation, and taxes are a monster part of everything that's going on in your situation, for sure.
Yeah, that's so good. I love your rule out tax hikes forever. I love that. Okay, so obviously the pressing challenge of inflation, that's going to happen in retirement, as we mentioned. How do you help your retirees adjust to their financial plans? And, we obviously want to maintain our standard of living throughout retirement. So how do you guys work with them on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, getting a realistic, number, which I always harp on, because everybody always has the wrong number of how much money they spend. And especially when you have 7 days a weekend and not 2, you've got a lot more time to spend money, right? So that's one of the things that you really want to be paying attention to. Secondly would be just, once you figure out that spending level, that no BS budget, again, that's taking the last 12 months withdrawals from your checking, divide by 12, and that's how much you spend. But we want to make sure, you have that calculated in there. You want to have a fund, as I like to call it. Have that budgeted into the plan. And then, also you want to have some, those things that only happen once a year that happen every year, right? It's like, how could you have one-time expenses keep happening? Well, that's what happens, right? But if you own a house or something like that, right, there's always something. And so, yeah, you want to have that budgeted in there too. And then have that all growing with inflation, with taxes. Once you have all that information in there, then yeah, then you can know how the money's going to last. Will it be there as long as you will? Did you make the right Social Security decision? And those, ironically, are all names of downloads that we have, 10 or 15 page downloads at our Toolbox site. So, all you have to do is text the word Toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word Toolbox, 800-454-1184. Text the word Toolbox. Get access to all that great info, place to download my book, Worry Less Wealth, and even set a time to talk with me, Eric Heckman, and we can go over any questions you got. You can also get all that at wealthcreatorradio.com.
I love that. And we just thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman. One of those reports is that Social Security's decision, and everybody kind of needs some, I think, guidance with that. You shouldn't go it alone. Tell us how you help people optimize Social Security, Eric.
Well, I mean, first of all, just having a realistic discussion about it, because I think one of the biggest problems that people do is they do the false math of, if I take my Social Security at, say, 65, 67, whatever the earlier age you're talking about, and compare it to taking it at 70, and then usually sometime when you're 80, it crosses over, and that's where the break even is. That would be accurate for just Social Security dollars. However, that's not the right question. The correct question should be, which one gives me more net worth by 80, 85, or 90? And that's the question nobody ever asks. And that's really what you meant to ask, but you just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So, because if you retire, say at 67, and you don't get that $3,000 a month for 36 months, which if you do the math, that's a little over $100,000. But you did retire. So it's not like we're comparing you working 3 more years or something like that. No, we're saying no matter what, you retire at 67. One is you're taking 3,000 out of some other place. Or the other option is, you've got this money coming in. And, so when I do that math, about 2/3 of the time, actually, it makes more sense to start earlier. It totally counter to what everybody else says about waiting later. So, but again, it goes specifically to your plan and your custom stuff. So that's why you need to have that personalized, customized income plan. That's what we do here at Heckman Financial. So, if that's something you want to take advantage of, you can just set up a time with me, Eric Heckman. All you have to do is text the word visit to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word visit, 800-454-1184, or book it online at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Be sure to like and subscribe to Wealth Creator Radio so you can stay up to date on ways to build your wealth and create a retirement you and your family will enjoy for years to come. Like and subscribe today and create your wealth for tomorrow with Wealth Creator Radio.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Luann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. He is offering a chance to help you create a retirement strategy where you guys are going to look at your income, your investments, your tax strategies, healthcare plan, and legacy plan. You can get our toolbox, remember, at no cost just by texting the word toolbox, 800-454-1184. All right, so we are going to get to retirement questions right now on our show, and then I'll get to kind of a real quick lightning round of think fast questions, Eric, where I'm just going to give you one thing, and you have to tell me what's on your mind, okay? So that'll be coming up here at the end of this segment. But first of all, a question that is on the minds of a lot of retirees is this: when should I start considering taking Social Security?
Well, I think most people really should be around the full retirement age, which for most of us right now is 67. There's a few people born before 1960. It's a couple months earlier.
That's me.
Yeah, but most people, it should be really 67. Yeah, you can wait till 70. You make more money, but you also don't get the money. So it depends on when you retire, right? But but before that, it can be really hazardous because if you work and make money, you can give it back and have to pay it back and such. So Yeah. Yep. So that still usually should be the main goal for people,
Okay.
is at least full retirement
Full
age.
retirement age. Love it. Okay. What are the best ways for leaving an inheritance to my family?
You mean die? No, just kidding.
Well, die.
Yeah, you have to do that kind of first,
You got to
right?
do that
But,
first, unfortunately. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the worst assets to leave behind are IRA, 401ks, because of now, those have to be spent down over 10 years and all the
Yeah.
taxes paid. And whereas if it's a brokerage account, if it's a house, stuff like that, they get to step up a basis. There's no taxes due on it. Even Roth accounts are tax free to the next generation, but they do have to be cashed in within 10 years.
Oh,
So,
wow, they do. Okay.
yeah. So I mean, there's, those are some, it just depends on which assets that you have, obviously. The biggest tax free way to do it and build up more assets is really with life insurance. So, and a lot of life insurance policies today actually give you some long term care benefits. So, we're seeing actually more and more clients where we'll move some money into life insurance, even if they're in their 60s, because not only does it leave behind some money if everything goes kind of right and they just pass away, but if things go not as right and they need long-term care, they can use up that death benefit for covering those costs, which really helps out.
Yeah, I love that idea. The fact that life insurance or insurance companies are actually helping with long term care. I love that. Okay. Another question that is on a lot of retirees' mind. What are some ways to reduce my taxes in retirement?
Yeah, well, so the crazy part is you hear a lot of stuff about people spending a ton of money for healthcare in retirement, but really the number one thing that people spend the most money on is taxes in retirement. That is the biggest cost item, and so that's a critical question that most financial advisors say go talk to your tax person. Your tax person says talk to your financial advisor, and you look like you're watching a tennis match with your head going back and forth, right? So. That's not what it should be. That's why we're licensed and trained in taxes, and you really need to be planning this because it can be a huge make or break in your retirement. So if you're not doing some Roth conversions, you're not doing tax efficient investing or tax free investing. There's lots of different options out there, but when you're building up that plan and you're figuring out what you should be doing, hands down, $1 per hour, the most lucrative planning you can ever do is actually tax planning.
Okay, very good. And of course, you and your team, that's all part of your toolbox or your blueprint to worthless wealth, I should say, that's in the toolbox that you take people through. And then finally, this question, what do you mean when you talk about having a retirement income plan?
Yeah, so that's super critical. And, can you imagine going on a hike out in the forest and you have no GPS, no map,
Oh,
no phone, and you're trying to get to some lake somewhere?
yeah.
Good luck, right? Maybe you get up on a hill, maybe you can see where the lake is, maybe. And then once you get there, good luck trying to even get back to your car, right? So the retirement income plan is your guide. It's your, it's your navigation system in retirement, but it's something that also has to be updated every year because obviously spending happens, right? You do different things, market changes, dollar values change of accounts. And, tax laws change, everything changes, right? So, having that plan shows you, okay, yes, I can spend this much money for the rest of my life and I'm going to be good with inflation, taxes, everything, calculated in. But, we have to also update that every year because, like I said, things are changing. So, yeah, I cannot imagine anybody doing retirement without that. Sadly, though, one of the studies shows that up to about 80% or only 1 in 5, I guess is the positive way to say it, have a plan.
Wow,
4 in 5 don't, which is just insane.
insane.
Yeah. So, so that's very scary. That's that wandering in the forest and good luck. So yeah, that's one of the things that we do here at Heckman Financials. We build that blueprint to worry less wealth, where we talk first and foremost about having that retirement income plan. Secondly, then, looking at that, look at how the money's invested, because once you go to retire, you have to change that investment, not for growth, but for money, right? For cash flow.
Yeah.
And then what's the tax ramifications of all those different accounts? Which bucket of money should you be grabbing first? What's the healthcare issues? Long-term care, Medicare, how are you going to get health insurance? And then lastly, like we talked about there, who gets your stuff after you're gone? So, those are the 5 areas that of of planning that people really need to have a plan. Well, they have a plan. They need to know what their plan is
Yes.
and have an intentional plan. And so that's what we do here at Heckman Financial. And if you want to set up a time to just talk on the phone for 15, 30 minutes with me, you can do that. All you have to do is text the word visit to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word visit 800-454-1184, or book directly online at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Yeah. What we're trying to do here is help transform your worries of retirement into confidence. That's Eric's goal for you. That's why he's here every single week. And goodness sakes, he's done this for over 30 years. So talk about wisdom that you can gain from someone who deals with retirees every single day. So we just thank you so much for spending part of your day with us today. This is Wealth Creator Radio. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial. All right, so now we are going to take a couple minutes, go into this lightning round of questions so we can get to know you, Eric, just a little bit better. I'm going to give you a quick, topic or something, and I want you to just quickly answer as quick as you can. All right?
All right, sounds good.
Okay, here we go. First one, top news sources you check regularly.
Well, let's see. I still get my local Mercury News, emails, not the paper,
Okay.
and also Wall Street Journal.
Okay, got it. What book have you read more than once, Eric?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Well, Think and Grow Rich is an old one that's a really good book, and actually Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, I think, is one of the best ones. And
Compound Effect.
Yeah, that one don't know if I count reading it twice. I've read it, and then I've also done the audio. So
There you go. I think it counts. How many siblings do you have, Eric?
Not anymore, but I had a sister who lost her 20-year battle of leukemia a while back. But yep.
You had a sister, little sister, big sister?
Older sister.
Older sister. Okay. I'm sorry, though. I'm very sorry. Favorite sport?
Well, to watch is, Sharks hockey. I guess, as most people know, I do a lot of cycling. So, that'd be the one I actually do, I guess, the most is, usually try to ride about 4,000 miles a year or so.
That's amazing. I love that. What was your first car?
It was a little Mazda hatchback, so GLC.
What color?
It was pretty ugly. It was actually like, I don't know, some brown.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Cake or pie?
I'd actually say probably pie.
Ooh, what kind of pie?
It's hard to get pies nowadays.
It is,
No place that sells them anymore.
Okay, my last question, because I'm going to have to wrap it up. Most important thing you want your clients to know about you?
Well, I mean, one of the things I'm most proud of is I was able to take care of my dad for 20 years, for his 20 years of retirement, 20 years after my mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
They were retired for about 3 years before she passed away at 60, which was way early.
Way early.
And so being able to take care of him is probably the best thing I was ever able to give my mom. And it's what I do for my clients. I mean, it's just ready to sit there and figure out, okay, how can we make sure this all happens? How can we make sure you stay on track and enjoy a worry less wealth retirement? So that's what we're here for. But if you got some questions, you want to learn a little bit more and you want to just ask me some questions, feel free. All you have to do is text the word visit to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word visit 800-454-1184, or book directly online at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Imagine for a moment that an intense storm is pounding your house. Will the roof leak? Will the siding peel away? Will your basement flood? If your house is properly built and maintained, you'll be fine. But what about your 401k or your investments? The stock market has had a great run the last few years, but is its current turmoil making you feel uneasy? Are you confident your portfolio is built to weather the financial storm? Now may be a great time to have your retirement plan inspected. Call Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial at 800-454-1184 now. Eric will examine your portfolio and show you if your investments are in need of some weatherproofing. Call Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial today at 800-454-1184. That's 800-454-1184. Investment advisory services offered through Heckman Financial Insurance Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor.
Hey, thank you for spending part of your day with us today. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman, and here we are in our final segment. I always love this segment, Eric, because you give us a story, about a retiree. Right now, we're going to have you share with us a wealth success story. We always like to hear these, and it's kind of, an idea of, okay, they did that. I need to do that too. So what do you have for us today?
Yeah, well, this one's more about, we'll just call them Al, but they were the kind of there used to be a book, The Millionaire Next Door kind of people where they just didn't do crazy stuff. They took trips with their kids. They did stuff, but, not super elaborate ones, not super expensive ones, and such like that. Just always put away money, never paid for stuff on credit or anything like that. And just plugged away. They never had huge, stock options. They weren't, he was more of a blue collar worker, retired with a little bit of a pension. So that definitely helps. But right now they don't even need the money that they'd saved up because of the pension. Social Security is enough. They've paid off their house, done all that stuff. And it just sounds always boring. It's like, right. You just did all the stuff that you're supposed to do. And,
Right.
but it actually works, So sometimes it's why that people tell you that stuff does work. And,
Be boring.
right. Yeah. And, on the flip side of that, though, I have had some clients that have done very well in terms of the stock option games and stuff like that. But the ones that I think are the most successful are the ones who realized it could go away.
Yes.
So, we have one that he just now actually just recently just here retired from Apple and stuff. And he retired in his late 50s. So that was their big goal. And for last 7-8 years, we've just been selling off so much and putting in stuff that puts out lots of income. And so he's retiring, but his income will be almost the same as it was, not counting stock options, but his base income will be almost the same from these assets that we've diversified that are there. So the rest of his Apple shares, we don't really, in essence, care about because it's going to be going up and down or whatever, but he's not needing to live off those. And so, you want to talk about being able to retire and being able to be happy with things, right? And be content. If you've got, a lot of money coming in the door, all your spending's taken care of, you're able to go buy it, they're building a new house and paying cash for it and stuff. So, so they're able to do all those things. And so, either way works, right? It's just, okay, did you get lucky enough to have some stock options? Or even if you didn't, if you just saved a bunch and put it away and, and just kind of ignored things, right? Didn't freak out every time the market was coming or, changing things around and just keep doing it over time. Yeah, it does work out. And, now some stuff is okay. Can we do some more stuff to lower the taxes? That's what we're working on, focusing on now. So, I think today now more people, if they're funding Roth and not putting money in because the government's not paying their bills, the Congress doesn't seem to ever want to bounce the budget again. So, until we go back to paying our way, your taxes are going to go up. So that's why you want to make sure you're well protected. Thank you for tuning in to Wealth Creator Radio. I'm Eric Heckman, and it's been a pleasure guiding you towards a more confident and secure retirement. Remember, my responsibility is to always do what's right for you, our client. Together, we can cut out that fancy-sounding financial jargon that doesn't help and focus on what truly matters for your financial future. If you're ready to take control of your retirement planning and build a personalized income plan, contact us at 800-454-1184 and text the word Toolbox to schedule a complimentary consultation. If you're looking for more resources and tools to build your retirement future, don't forget to check out that Wealth Creator Toolbox, your toolkit for a secure and confident retirement journey. Until next time, retire more and worry less with Wealth Creator Radio.
Information provided during Wealth Creator Radio is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Individuals should thoroughly review the contract for specific details of the product features and costs. Income payments and withdrawals from deferred annuities are generally taxable as ordinary income in the year they are taken. Eric Heckman offers investment advisory services through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Any tax advice given as part of this presentation is not intended to be used and cannot be used by the taxpayer for the purpose of avoiding tax penalties or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any matter or transaction addressed herein. The views and opinions expressed in the program are not necessarily those of the radio station or its sponsors, and they should not construe as legal, tax, or investment advice. You should always consult the appropriate advisor before making any financial decision.